Hi, welcome to valuationpodcast.com, a podcast and video series about all things related to business and valuation. My name is Melissa Gragg, and I provide online divorce, mediation, and valuation services in St. Louis, Missouri. We're speaking today with T.H. Irwin and Jessica Klingbaum, the exExperts, about advice and resources for divorcing couples. They're divorce mentors, and their mission is to educate, empower, and support people to make the best decisions for their outcomes. Welcome, TH and Jessica. How are you?
Thank you so much for having us today.
We are great. So happy to be here with you.
Kind of a final thing. And, it's a little bit about advice, but it's also about, any additional conversations that are difficult to have. Like what do you think is the biggest thing that you would do different, or the biggest thing that, in addition to everything that we said, because the advice today really is very helpful for somebody who's just sitting back and been like, I'm unhappy and I think I might want to make a different decision. It doesn't mean that divorce is the option. It means that you need to find happy. And if that means therapist or whatever, fixing the divorce or getting out of it, you should have that. But is there any kind of parting advice that you would have that somebody's in the process right now, and I'm frustrated, and I'm just like, I don't know if I made the right decisions. I don't know if I hired the right people. Like, what advice would you give them?
I would say two quick things. One is, if you are in the midst of the process and you are actually not sure if the team that you have around you, the lawyer that you've hired, the people that you're working with, if you're not sure if they're the right fit for you, honestly, I think I would suggest getting a divorce coach, which is something that wasn't really around when TH and I were getting divorced. And I think a lot of people might kind of like, haha, divorce coach. But the truth is, that's an outside perspective of someone who has expertise in the area. You can message us and do a private session with us, but like, you have to feel comfortable with all of the people on your team going into a room that you're not in and having a discussion on behalf of you and walking out with a result that you'd be happy with. If you are not feeling comfortable putting your entire life into those people's hands, then you need new people. So I think the first thing is, if you really aren't sure about like the people around you, then maybe get in an outside person that you can consult with, divorce mentors, whatever it is. But the other thing that I would say, honestly, like on a personal level, is everybody's different, but I'm a person who has a lot of trouble asking for help. And I'm a person who I just want to be able to handle things on my own. And both times I found myself really withdrawing from like my close friends, my close, my family, my close circle. And I learned after the first one that during the second one, I really needed to be proactive about maintaining all of my close relationships with all of my women friends, because people will say things to you like, I'm always there for you. But like, you are going to have to, make the initiative to make plans and like let people know that you can still go out, that you still want to meet for a cocktail, that you still want to go out for dinner or for lunch. Divorce is a lonely place to be. Mm-hmm. And if you aren't being proactive in your life about being with the people that you love and that make you happy and bring you joy, then you can find out the process can take a long time. You may find out later, like now those people aren't necessarily around in the way that you would have wanted them to be. So I think, as hard as it may be, like try at least once a week to get together with someone, one of your friends or someone in your family, to like be able to have those moments.
Mm-hmm. Well, and a divorce coach, I gotta be honest with you, like 1 hour with me or you or anybody who is in the field of divorce for a long time is going to be worth its weight in gold. Yeah, because you don't know what you don't know. And if you're listening to your friends and you're like, oh, I got divorced and I got screwed, I got divorced and I got everything, all of those are like storybook romances that have nothing to do with your case, like, and have no impact. Nobody cares what Sally down the street got in your divorce. It has no bearing on your divorce. But a coach or a therapist who is knowledgeable about it, I think, could answer some questions, direct you in the right place, And it is imperative. You cannot allow somebody to drive this process for you. You
Right.
have to
Or
get in the driver's seat.
there are circumstances where they will be driving the process for you, and you have
Into
to
the
be
ground.
comfortable that they're the ones doing it into the
Right.
ground.
I would say, listen, divorce is not your whole life. And as contentious as and like all consuming that mine was, not even the emotional side, but then 3 kids and all the paperwork I had to print out and all the stuff I had to go find, and then I had to bring boxes to lawyers. And by the way, I had to work. Like, I would say the number one thing is find joy in your day every single day. I find joy by working out and like totally getting lost in music. I also find joy of going to the cabinet, picking one of my like 50 tea mugs with the saying that resonates for me that day, picking out my flavor. Like, this is my morning ritual.
Yes.
Joy for me is taking my dog for a walk and seeing the most gorgeous flower that I have to take a picture of. And then I have to blow it up into a canvas that goes in my gym so that I'm bringing my outside in. So no matter what it is, taking a bath, going for a walk, reading a book, listening to like a spy podcast or binging on whatever, as long as it's healthy, do it every single day. You really need to take care of yourself. And as far as being a parent going through this, we are superheroes because you have to be present with your kids. They are not going through the legal stuff. They are not making copies of stuff. They're going to school. They're having trouble with their friends, or they're having a great day and they're coming home and they want to tell mom and dad about it. And you need to be there with them, not just for them, but you're going to be upset if you miss it. Don't miss out on your life because you are getting a divorce.
Right.
Live your life, find your joy, and be present for the things that really matter. Shut off the phone, turn off the TV, sit with your kid, even if you don't know everyday math, and just pretend and be there with them. So those are my 2 big things.
Well, and I think I appreciate all the information. I do have one more question and then we'll definitely go because it's something that I've been very passionate about recently, which is when this divorce is over, there is a healing process that has to take place. Divorce has components of trauma, or you could even say the relationship could have had components of trauma, and you have to kind of unwind all of that. Do you guys have any like one thing that helped you heal or with self-care or anything like that that you thought, that really kind of helped me to process after? Because I tell people the divorce is the first process, but the after the divorce about finding yourself and being whole again and all of that is the next process. Was there a healing modality that really helped you?
It's a journey, and we're going to say it ad nauseum. Get a really great therapist. My therapist helped me undo bad patterns from my mother, from my husband. Even like some of my kids were, copying the behavior that I was allowing happen. So I just want to say a few things. Like, we all say divorce, right? My separation was 4 years. My divorce is to eternity, like forever and always. But the separation, you can start healing on day 1. You don't have to wait for this to be over. You start day 1, which is what I did. And you keep your ears open and you continue to trust your gut and learn. And that's how we have both grown in different ways, but ways that we needed to grow. I needed to find my voice. I needed to know that I was perfect the way that I am. Those words don't, like, who the hell's telling me that? And why am I listening? And whatever damage was caused through the marriage and whatever, that's a long time of damage to healing time. Like, it's not an overnight thing. take yourself seriously, take responsibility for your marriage. I allowed someone to treat me like shit for at least 5 years. That was my responsibility in that marriage. Is he not a good guy for me? No, definitely not a good guy. But I allowed it to happen. I wasn't handcuffed to the house. And so once you start taking responsibility, forgive yourself. You're doing the best job you can. All of this can come through with working with us, but also really with a therapist works with you differently because they go back into your past. And that's the difference between a therapist and us as mentors or coaches or anybody else. Like, you got to dig deep and you have to be ready to face the music. But you will feel so much lighter when you do.
I love it. I love it. Well, and I think that, I think that this is some of the ways that people can contact you and the exexperts.com. And I think you're right. And I think that in this process, there's a balance of finding joy, of self-care, of working through the divorce, of making your kids okay and yourself okay. And having a support system is necessary. And not using the people on your team to be all of your support, not having your attorney also be your therapist, not have, like, you really have to have a separation of some of those pieces because, sometimes you might want to complain about your team too. And so you need that to, it's a frustrating thing. So the other thing that we have here is, let's see, your social platforms. So at the exExperts, and then your podcast is divorce, etc. So, they have an unlimited amount of information and resources, and they are more than willing to talk to you and to have that first meeting. And again, even if it's just a first meeting or an hour or a few hours, I think it will take you so far in the process to be more prepared, and you can make decisions that are maybe just not good for your friends, but are good for you. So I thank you guys so much. This is a great topic, and I'm sure we'll have you back because I think the healing during it is kind of an interesting thing that we could discuss. So, how do you become whole again? When we were told our whole lives to be part of a couple, like,
right.
Maybe that's not the truth.
That's a whole nother conversation. Right.
Right. All right.
Don't believe everything that you're told.
There you go. There you go. Well, thank you, Jessica and TH. We will be talking to you again.
Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.